Hello and welcome to the whole new episode of a Buggy build. And before we continue with the video, let me just say you something that happened today morning, and that was I took the axle out and got it welded up, and here you can see the picture of the previous welding, and unfortunately the welding went too thin. That's what this thing happened, and I got it tapered and even got it welded out perfectly, and after that I took it for a spin off camera, and something unexpected just broke down, and that thing caused a lot of trouble, man. That thing caused a lot of trouble. The bearing which I used on the axle over there had just snapped, and because of that snapping, the reverse kit had just I lost the piece of a reverse kit like this much, 2 to 3 inches of a piece of a reverse kit, and which led damaging that, and even got all the oil out of there. Then again the same thing, I towed this thing all the way back home, and let me just show you what just happened over here.
Yes guys, here is what happened to the bearing. The pieces are in my hand, and the remaining body is over here. So just because of this bearing snapped out, and here is what happened. You can see a huge hole in this thing, and yes, I have checked out the sprocket, like the pieces hit it at this point. There is still some shavings of aluminium over here, and yes, the piece which just broke out is still inside the gear reverse kit. So yes guys, this is something unfortunately happened, and you can see there is a mark over here, like a rubbing mark. Thank God it didn't broke over here, but yes, there is a mark over here, and even this point there is a mark over here, and also a markings over here for rubbing the chain and all. So this thing just like this it was, and the bearing just broke out, and it went all the way up here and hit the body like this. So this is what this thing also had broke out. Thank God only this thing happened to this reverse kit. It didn't happen to the engine. That's what I'm still pleased with it, what happened. Now I'll go and get a better and a stronger bearings for this thing, so this won't happen ever again. Alright guys, so you can see the finishing inside is not that perfect, just because I used the two-phase tape over here, and because of that it was not level. That's what it's not level, it's just higher and lower spots over here. But from the other side it is pretty solid. You can hear the sound. It is pretty solid right now, so we can just jump over and get this thing, everything installed back again. And even I had got a new bearing because there was one bad bearing, and even a new oil seal for this thing, which is going to be placed right over here. So let's just get this thing back all together. Alright guys, so got some new bearing. These are FYH bearing. They said me this is the best bearing they have with me, with them stock, so I just bought them. And yes, there is huge difference between this bearing and that bearing. So you can see the difference from the bottom side, like it is complete metal, and over here there is empty space inside this bearing. So I bought them long before on my first project. I bought them, and like 2 years ago, so when I built my first homemade buggy, so I just dropped it out these bearings from there and used it over here. So my bad, I didn't go and get a better bearing. So it says over here Japan. I hope you can see these are Japanese bearing, but yes guys, they wasn't having the perfect inner diameter of this thing, the bearing. So these bearings are 32 mm and these are 30 mm bearing. So I have either two options with me, or use the same bearing, like get this bearing out of here and use the same bearing which is over there, so I don't have to go to the lathe and turn it to the 30 mm diameter over here, or else I can just turn it to the 30 mm diameter and use the bearing and everything. So now, just to save the time, I'm just going to use the body of this bearing, and we'll just remove this bearing body and replace it with this, and let the bearing, that 32 mm bearing over there. So let's just disassemble it and move this bearing out first. Yes, it is almost ready for a test drive, but I don't want to do that until I make an adjuster sprocket for this thing. And I got this sprocket today, and I want to install it as an adjuster for the rear sprocket, because when I was riding for the last time, this thing happened, the whole thing broke out, and I even heard about the chain slipping. So to get it more safe, I'm going to add up a sprocket, adjust a sprocket. So let's just make the adjuster. I have got a rough idea of how it's going to be, so let's just get it built and see whether it's going to work or not. Yes guys, I took it out for a spin, and something unexpected happened. You can see the tire is over here and the hub is over here. The thing which was connecting the tire to this hub had just snapped into half, and that's the reason I bought these axles with the complete the hub assembly as well. So it's out of a Subaru car, and yes, they look pretty strong and they are equal in sizes. So I'm going to get rid of this complete setup and fix these over there. They weren't easy to get. The same thing, the splines which are over there are exactly the same which I have made it over inside, and it wasn't easy to get, but finally I found it and bought them.
they are used. I just found them at the scrapyard. It took me three days to get them, but somehow I managed to get exactly the same, so that I don't have to go and modify the inner thing, because that took a lot of time to make, so I don't want to redo all that thing. So yes guys, now it's finally the time to get rid of this axle and the hub, and hopefully in the future test drive this won't happen again.
Yes guys, you can see this time it wasn't the welding, it was the complete pin which just snapped into half. Here is the pin, you can see the splines, and even you can see it is bended to the right over here. As you can see, it's not straight at the end. So what just happened, it just turned this thing with the torque. It just turned it, and with the marking, you can see with the marking what this thing had actually done. So it just turned this thing and broke it. That's the thing happened. Yes guys, so I have done the welding. Unfortunately the camera wasn't on, so yes, I have done the welding on the thicker side, not on the thinner side, on thicker side at the front, and at the back 4 tacks, not tacks, it's welding, but it's not completely welded. The reason of not welding it completely entirely is because I don't want to lose the temper of this steel, so that's what the thing is. So let's just move this thing out of the shed because the smell of the grease is not that great. Yes guys, this was the old bearing as I showed you in the video. So the bearing which just snapped into half was from this side, because most of the torque which is coming from the engine is over this side. So that's what this bearing broke into half, and the other bearing was fine. So here's it is. So now what I'm thinking to do is to get another set of bearing over here, so that like two bearings will hold the torque which is coming from the engine. So that's what I'm thinking to do, making it more stronger so that it won't break again. Yeah, I know it's more than enough, but still I don't want to take any chances of breaking this thing at all. So let's just add up a bearing. Yes guys, here is the progress of what I have done in this video. Yes, I have tried to repair the reverse kit, and the reverse kit it worked out perfect. Just because of the bearing, I just broke the body of the reverse kit, but thanks to M-Seal it worked out. And yes, I bought a new bearing, new set of bearing, and even installed old bearing. Like 3 bearings are there to hold this shaft right now. Whatever happens, that should not break. So that's what the thing is. It had already break into half, and now I don't want this to
do again the same thing. So that's what, for the safety, I just installed another bearing over here. So 3 bearings to hold this stuff, and the disc is right over here because there isn't enough space over here in the rim, and the rim for this hub, the brake shoe and all needs at least 15 inches of rim. So I don't have with me the 15 inch, I have with me 12 inches of rim. So that's what I cannot use the brake caliper and all which comes with this hub. So it's fine, I can still use over here. So it is pretty solid right now, and it's working perfectly. I'm going with one disc right now. If it does not work, means I can go for other disc on the other side as well. So that will be found that we can find out in the later videos when I hit a test drive on this thing. Yes, I even need to change up the front disc as well because they are way too small, and it's not helping that much. So maybe I'm going to do that in later videos as well. So for now, this is it. Got a perfect set of axle. Yes, I have kind of doubt about the rear tire coming out of the body, a little bit of 1.5 inches, maybe, not sure about that. So we can find that thing out once I build the arms and all. So it's kind of a challenging to build the arms right here right now, to avoiding the disc and everything, and we'll find that thing out in the later video. So that's it for the video, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.